Real quick, Jim, I had recently sent you some NXT ratings the last few weeks because I thought it was really interesting the story that's telling. They're catching up to AEW. They're doing it with WWE talent on the NXT show, but once again, they're catching up to AEW. Have you any thoughts about the NXT ratings?
Yeah, well, they're not really just catching up. They're pretty much there. Not only for a couple times have they been over 800,000, which is the range that AEW is in on Wednesdays, but also, didn't I see that there was a million viewer quarter for, was it Becky Lynch? And they've gotten a ton of traction from Dominic Mysterio being on the program because he's hot off the main show. And remember we said this when it first went on the air, and I'm surprised it took them this long. And maybe it was because, Vince wanted to fuck with it at one point and then they got distracted. But when they were originally on Wednesday nights opposite each other, AEW and NXT, I said, NXT has the opportunity, has the availability, anytime they want to, they can bring the biggest stars in wrestling onto that program. But they didn't really load it up and do that. And then at that point, was that the point where Vince went crazy and gutted everything when Helmsley had the heart attack and they made it a goddamn Nickelodeon TV show with the bright colors and stripped the talent? But now they're cross promoting their main talent on another show that they have on the same network that Raw is on currently. And why the fuck wouldn't they? Because it gets ratings and it helps the young talent that they're trying to develop are supposed to be down there get seen by more people, since it's not like old-fashioned developmental where they didn't want people to see you.
Do you think part of the reason why they're putting so much talent there, because obviously they're not competing head-to-head with AEW, it's not the Wednesday Night War or anything, is it about hot-shotting those numbers if you're packaging NXT, bundling it with Raw to sell those rights?
Possibly. And maybe it's been that way if they were talking to USA and USA, oh, we can't afford it. Well, we're doing these numbers anyway to show other people that what they'd be getting. So yes, and the new ownership, they want everything to come up. And of course, it's been feast or famine. Raw got hammered this past week, the lowest rated Raw in history, or non-holiday Raw, or maybe ever Raw. But they were hammered by these big football games. But the previous Friday night, they did almost 3 million people for the Rock's quarter. So did USA maybe think, if we'd rather pay more for the goddamn Friday night show because the Monday night gets hammered by football? Who knows? Only Thurston Howell III will be able to figure this out.
Does this hurt, though, in the long run, if this is going to mean that you permanently have to have some elements of a brand split because you have different entities that own rights to different programs of yours, and they're going to want their own talent, they're going to each want top stars, no matter who has the rights to those shows. They want top people. They may not want to share it with the other network.
Well, but they've been doing it, right? If they're top enough, if you can't tell me that if I'm got a WWE program on my network and I get a chance to have Roman Reigns or John Cena or The Rock, but they're on the other program, on the other network, I'll take them. The other network might not want to get. You can't have that kind of exclusivity. If something big for WrestleMania is coming up, you're seeing people on both programs. But the idea is to get the numbers of each individual program as a whole with whatever stars are on it up to where that the network's happy for the money they're paying, I would think. So, it might be an all hands on deck intermingling in the WWE universe, as they say.